All right. Happy Friday, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing you to Ramesh Dewangan. And Ramesh was actually referred by one of our boot campers. And Ramesh and I had a conversation. And so there's a couple of things that stand out about Ramesh. One thing is it's all about making sure that people are staying focused and on point. And he started his career as an engineer and then product manager in some pretty impressive companies. And you know what else? He's a Toastmaster expert. So I'm looking forward to gleaning some tips from his speaking style. So Ramesh, I'm really excited about that. But he's going to bring us some pearls of wisdom today. And Ramesh, I'm going to turn it over to you. And so for everyone, as Ramesh is speaking, if there are questions, put them in the chat. We'll get to them. And Ramesh, it's all yours.
Thank you, Christy. Well, thank you very much. And such a great turnout. Friday, it's such an early morning on Friday. I'm so impressed. I'm really impressed. Imagine this. I was just starting my job in multinational company in Bangalore, back in India. And we just started, we had about 20 engineers and we had one manager. And our computer systems were very few at that time. We only had 3 or 4 computers for 20 engineers. So we developed kind of a waiting system kind of thing, log system to say, hey, I'm going to use it from 3 to 5. Somebody said 5 to 7 and so on. So, it was a nice democratic system that we started following up. And I was waiting for my turn for hours. Then suddenly my manager comes and he says, I got to use this computer. And we said, hey, we have a process to follow and we are following that process. Why would it's not your turn yet? And he said, no, I am the manager, so I need to use it. Okay. That really is what is called positional manager or positional authority. Those who use positional authority to manage people. John C. Maxwell, a great leadership guru, who has written more than 80 books on leadership, has a 5-level model for leadership influence. And let me share that. Could I share the screen? Yeah, looks like I can. So John C. Maxwell says that every leader goes through 5 levels of influence. And it starts with positional leadership. And that is what I described to you. My manager exhibited exactly what's called positional leadership. Positional leadership is based on authority, based on rules, based on boundaries that are defined. Manager says, this is the task you need to do, this is the task you need to do, let's pull all together, here is the team output. Everybody does as per the rule. They just put in the effort what is minimally needed to execute the job. People do work because they follow the leader because they have to. That's a great position to start. Any first level manager or a junior manager starts at a positional level. But it is not a place where you want to hang on for long. You need to quickly upgrade yourself to higher levels of influence, which brings me to the level 2 of influence, which is permission-based leadership. People give you permission to lead. And this is based on relationship. You have to develop long-lasting relationship with the team members to be able to influence them further. Here, people follow you because they want to, not because they have to. People will do more than what you ask for because there is a trust, there is a credibility, there is an integrity that leader executes, and the leader understands the motivation, the care about, the vulnerabilities, the passion of each of the members. If you connect at that level, people will give you permission to lead and they will surprise you with their output. That's level 2. Third level is what's called production. This is where you get things done. You are known by your output. When I used to work in a big multinational called Texas Instruments, and we were designing chips, a semiconductor. And I used to always wonder that there was one obscure group based in UK, which always got the best and the biggest and the baddest chip to be done. That's the reputation they had. This small group designs the baddest chip, the leading edge, most leading edge chips. And we used to really be jealous of that team, but they had a track record. They were really producing. You need to have a track record of output. It's just not enough to have just leading the people like you, you love them, you just have a nice team going. You need to give output, and that's what the level 3 is. Level 4 is people development. Now, people development does not mean you're not doing people development in the previous levels. Of course, you're doing people development, but that's more for team level. People development here means that you need to increase your organizational impact by creating more leaders. As per one study, 80% or 85% of the leaders create followers. 10% or 13% actually create other leaders. Okay. But only few people who really create this next level leader who can replace them, who can take the whole organization forward. And that's what you want to be. You want to create those leaders. And last level is called pinnacle, which is really ultimate level of leadership, where you are really known for who you are, and you are known not only within the company, but across the industry. Jack Welch comes to mind. Jack Welch is one of the known leader who reached pinnacle level. So anyway, this is just to give an idea of the fact that leadership is a journey, and the influence goes through different levels of impact. You start with positional, you go to permission, then the production. Now, given this is general overview, this is really like a 5-minute summary of a book that John C. Maxwell has written, which is called The 5 Levels of Leadership. I highly recommend this book if you really want to know this further. This is an excellent book. And not only he talks about each level, but he also talks about what it will take to go from one level to another level, kind of a checklist. That could be a topic of another talk someday. Whoops, there is something going on my... So anyway, given this is the fact, let me ask you, where do you think you are at? You may want to put in chat window. Do you think you're at level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I'll be very, very happy to see if there is somebody's level 5 right now. Where do you think you are? Just, give an assessment of yourself. Put in the chat window. Great. We have some 3, 3, 2, 4. Absolutely great. Fantastic. That's great. Okay, good. Let's go to today's topic, which is more about production. Oh, sorry. Okay, there is still coming. Oh, I am really impressed with the elite crowd that I have here, which is a lot of them are at level 4. So that's great. Let's go to today's topic, which is more about production. That's the level 3. How do you get more of this in your organization? And production comes from efficient execution, executing towards your goals, your products efficiently, because you can't, and consistently. And that's what is the topic today. Because every project you do, every product you develop has got so many details. And you need to and there's so much information. You need to be able to manage the information. You need to be able to prioritize, and you should be able to create right goals and track them and deliver them. So efficient execution has 3 components that I'll cover today. One is organize. Have you seen some great leaders? they have all the right data at the right time. They have the right data on their fingertips. I used to be impressed when some senior vice president is giving a talk, and I used to ask, uh, what was the major achievement of last quarter? And we had 3 major achievements last quarter. We reduced our turnover by 10%. We increased our revenue by 10% in Asia Pacific, and so on. And that really impressed me. To have the right data at the right time, they must be highly organized people. And they are. Great leaders are highly organized people. They deal with the volume of information and really put a system in place so that they can really have the right data at the right place. And I'll explain it a bit more. That's the organization part. You got to get organized as you grow up as a leader. Second is prioritize. We have so many things to do. And in fact, things only grow further as you go up the leadership journey. You got to be able to prioritize really well. And I'm going to give you some very, very practical tips about prioritizing. And lastly, you need to deliver with the right goals, tracking, and passion. So let's talk about organization. Growing up, I was a very forgetful person. I was known to be like, oh, where is that thing? And I used to start searching. And I was always had this impression of, oh, Ramesh is extremely forgetful. He takes a lot of time to get information. So when I get into the leadership positions, I said, wait a minute, that's not going to work for me. I got to do something about it. That's when I started putting a system in place for organization, because that was absolutely critical for me, for my own success. We have these red lines. Do you see the red lines on the screen right now? Some kind of a mark. I don't know how that came about. Is there, I have no idea.
I don't know either.
Okay, let me do this. Let me stop share and reshare. That might be better idea. Just hold on. Because I don't intend that red line to be distracting us. Sorry about that. Okay, I think it's gone. Okay, I've reshared it. I don't know what happened last time. So let's go to organization. And let me give you one short video to give you some tips about organizing. And I hope that is the sound audible?
All the time. How do we stay so productive and
Yes.
So, okay.
Well, I'm going to give you my top 5 techniques that I use to get organized at work. So let's get to it. Organized tip number 1, stop multitasking. What, Adrian, that's an organizational tip. Actually, it is. It's probably the most important organizational tip that you can do, because it's the number 1 mistake most people in organizations make all the time. If you're going to be organized, then you need to ensure that you put good quality work out there. Multitasking is not organization, yet some people equate the two together. It is proven that people cannot multitask. It is a very small percentage who can. And when you multitask, you actually take away from the quality of work that you're doing, particularly when you're multitasking on activities that really have to use the brain and the logic. You just can't do it. So in order to truly stay organized, the first step is to stop the myth that multitasking works. It does not. And if you drop that and understand to do one thing at a time, your organization is going to skyrocket. Organize your brain. Yes, a cluttered mind, just like a cluttered desk, leads to stress, which does not help you with organization. So what are some things you can do to help organize your brain? Well, first and foremost is you really want to try meditation. It is proven scientifically how meditation can reduce stress. It also allows you to be in the moment so you don't get caught in that whirlwind of activity, which just increases stress and increases disorganization. You also want to consider sleep. It's really important to get the right amount of sleep. I'm not going to tell you how many hours to get because everyone is different. I know people who 4 hours are absolutely fine and other people who need 9. The point is, don't skimp out on sleep. Another thing you really may want to consider too are taking breaks. If you're going to stay organized within your workday, then you need to take mini breaks. It's proven 5-minute break within every hour or activity that you're doing just brings you back to reality, allows you to ground yourself, gives you enough time so when you get back into it, you can stay focused and ultimately stay organized with what you're doing. The benefit of all of this is when you have a stress-free mind and your brain is organized, it translates very easily to the things outside in front of you, the physicality stuff. Organize your workspace. Now, some of you are probably going, finally, she said it. Yes, organize your workspace. This is a given when it comes to organization. Some of the techniques I want to give you, though, maybe something you haven't considered. I am very fortunate to work in many different types of industries and organizations and departments. And one of the things I find in the manufacturing sector that they do really well from an organization standpoint that I'm going to now share with you is the 360 method. The 360 method is just this. Think of everything that you touch and things that you need constantly and daily should be within a 360 circle. If you constantly have to get up for something that is important to you and that is critical to you doing your work and you're doing it constantly by getting up and out of your desk, that is disorganization. You want to have everything at your fingertips and stuff that you don't need or don't use, get rid of it, protect or store it away. Really rethink about your space. Yeah, clean up the desk and make sure you don't have clutter, but really think and strategize what do you need at your fingertips and do the 360 method. Another thing too, when it comes to physical organization, particularly with your desk, clear it off at the end of the day. There is something really powerful when things are put away. And then when you get to your desk the very next day, that it's clean. It just gives you the same and proper mindset for you to be organized.
Okay, so let me move on because the rest of the tips she talks about, I cover in the next slide as it is. So you get the idea that organization is extremely important. And you need to really have the right information, right time, so to execute things efficiently. And there is some implementation tips I've got for you just to get more organized. First thing is that you got whatever system you put in place need to follow some kind of consistent labeling or categorization. And that should apply to your contacts, your notes, your calendar, emails, all of that. If they follow a consistent labeling or categorization, then it's easier to find information. Also, whatever system you put in place need to be cross-platform. Cross-platform and on cloud so that you can access it from any system you want, whether it's a smartphone or computer or your iPad. Or from anywhere in the world, wherever there is internet, it should be possible to use that. And use the right tools for all different categories of organization, whether it's note-taking or calendar or to-do list or something. And I've got recommendation for exactly the kind of tools that I use, but you may want to use your own set of tools. So that's part of the organization, okay? So let's go to next, which is prioritization, which is really more like the linchpin of my talk today. So there are three prioritization problems that we have. First thing is that we always have more things to do. Yeah. I used to be like going to office at 8 o'clock, coming back evening 8 o'clock. I still have many more things to do. It's like my family will be upset with me and say, why do you have so many things to do? There are always more things to do. That's life. Yeah. You got to prioritize. Second is, it is overwhelming. It is overwhelming when you've got so many things to do, then you get some more things dumped on you, and it's not only work related, also personal related, and it's really just causes too much stress. That's a huge part of the problem. And third thing is that consistency becomes challenging. If you have so many things to do and you don't prioritize properly, your output is not going to be consistent. It will be hit or miss. And then as soon as you start missing few of those promised deliverables, you suffer in terms of your track record. And the track record is what we are looking for as part of the production level in the leadership. Right? So what do you do? So here are some tips that I'll provide. First is that don't have too many priorities. It's very, very logical or, almost a common sense, but I asked a friend who said, he's overwhelmed with a lot of things to do. And I said, how many things you've got in your to-do list? And he said, 20. Okay. And is that too many? I said, well, no, I should be able to accommodate, even if I can get 15 done, maybe 5 I can postpone next day. That's too many priorities. You cannot do 20 things in a day. Prioritization is absolutely necessary. First of all, as you heard earlier that multitasking is really overrated. So if you have too many priorities, it's not going to be possible even if you're multitasking. Second is, most of us overestimate the importance of any item to do. That's an universal problem. I did it for many years. I still do sometimes, overestimate the importance. We think everything is important. You're doing already 6 things that are important, and the 7th thing comes and says, oh my God, I got to do this. I was coaching a client, she is in finance, and she said, I'm so busy with auditing. I'm like spending 12 hours in auditing right now. I can't do this. But then I found this new report which says that the bank statements are not, has to go through reconciliation. And that's very important. I said, how can you accommodate this bank reconciliation along with the audit that is going on? Because you're already very busy with the audit. Is that really important? She said, yeah, it is very important. I said, okay, what happens if you do it 1 week later? What happens if you do it 2 weeks later? Well, yeah, it's not really going to matter so much because it's like, it has been going on for a long time. I can wait for 1 or 2. That's the kind of evaluation you have to do. And I'll give you a specific tool to do that evaluation. Okay. So more estimating any item to do based on importance and urgency. Those are the 2 attributes you need to evaluate. Third thing is be proactive. It's like a lot of people are reactive. They don't take time to reflect and anticipate what could be going wrong. What could be something that I would do today to mitigate the risk of something going wrong in future? That is, otherwise, a dam bursts and a lot of you get flooded, because you're reactive. What if you could do some action now to prevent that? Right? That way, it's really going to help you. Lastly, people don't reevaluate the priorities. If your priority is set at the beginning of the year, even the 12th month from then, they're still following the same priority because they did evaluate priority 12 months earlier. So yeah, that was very important. We have been, actually that I came to know when I joined a company, we were doing one specific task at a very high priority. And I said, why is this high priority? The answer was, this is how we have been doing for last 12 months. So don't ask questions, do it. This is high priority. This is what our management wants. So wait a minute. So that means they have never reevaluated priority. In fact, when we reevaluated it, we found that that's really not high priority. That's something that can be postponed or done later. And the time has passed about the priority, why that was a priority. So reevaluation is very important. So how do you do this estimation of importance, and how do you really go about prioritizing? Here is one tool. It's called Eisenhower matrix. I'm pretty sure you might have heard about it. Eisenhower was the president, a wartime president, and he used this matrix to plan things very well in terms of projects and the activities of the war. And this was later on popularized by Stephen Covey in his book. Basically, it says that every item can be binned into 4 bins: high urgency, high importance; low urgency, low importance, which is the bottom right; or it could be high importance, not urgent, less important, this is the top right; and not important, high urgency on the bottom left. high importance, high urgency item are no-brainers. They got to be done now. That should be the highest priority. And again, not important, not urgent are also no-brainer. That is something that should deprioritize. In fact, that you should question, why is it even there? Delete it. Don't even entertain it. Don't push back. But real confusion comes in the rest of the two. I was confused for years between this non-urgent and high importance versus not important, high urgent. Biggest mistake people make is to prioritize the not important, high urgency item higher than not urgent important. So really the bottom left is not high priority than the top right. Because if you keep doing urgent items, which are not really important, then your important items are going to get delayed. They will never get done. So here are some recommended activities. For on the top left, you got to do now. Bottom right, you got to delete. For the top right, which is not urgent important, you have to plan, because that's a very high important item. Even if it is not urgent, you got to plan, you got to schedule it, maybe not this week, maybe next week, maybe it has to be very fixed timeline in which you will get done. Otherwise, the important thing will keep getting slipped. And anything that is urgent and not important, you should try to see if anybody else can do it. Or in fact, this is a great item also to consider automation. If you can automate the activity, you can create some kind of reminder or some app, something or whatever. So some kind of automation. So that's what helps in the prioritization. It has helped me a lot. In fact, if I had a little bit more time, I would have had you to create your task list, take your task list today and see if you can bin them in one of those categories right now to see at least identify one item that you can delete. That would be a great achievement. Yeah. But in the interest of time, maybe you should do this as a homework. So last thing is deliver. Okay. The deliver has got three parts. One is what you commit. You got to commit carefully, because if you commit too much, you're not going to be able to deliver. Right? So commitment requires you to evaluate again the importance and the urgency and what needs to be really committed and what really something that others can do, not something that you need to commit, and so on. Commit carefully. Commit something that you are interested in. Don't just take it up because somebody asked you to. Push back, ask questions, okay, and then only commit. A lot of the times people have large to-do lists because those items are not something that they want to do at all. They don't even want to do because it's not for their passion, they're not for their interest, not for their goals. Then why commit? Second is set smart goals. I think this is something I don't have to elaborate. You got to have measurable, specific, measurable, actionable goals. Otherwise, you really can't achieve them. And lastly, you have to track. You have to track with a big focus, because you have to communicate, you have to track, and you have to deliver. So this is more like something that most of the people do. So I'm not going to spend so much time on this. So in conclusion, efficient execution has got three elements that I talked about. One is organize. Have the right data at the right time. Organize yourself. You really need to make sure that you reduce clutter. You do less multitasking. You really need to, thanks, Greg. Really get efficient at things. Don't spend time searching for things. Don't spend time. If somebody asks you, what was your biggest achievement in the last quarter? Now, if you start a long story or don't have really things in order, don't have really right data at in your fingertips, you will be seen as a leader who is not arrived yet, okay, who is yet to mature. That's why organizing is very important. Secondly, prioritization. I think prioritization is where we get stuck most of the time. We really keep doing spinning wheels a lot, and spending a lot of time on the non-important and urgent items, what seemingly urgent. And when I really got that, I started questioning back, and I said, why is it urgent? When my manager asked, I need this and I need this by end of the day today. And I said, why? Okay, this is what my manager told me. I said, okay, why did you ask your manager? Why is it needed today? Because I don't see why it's needed today. This is not that urgent. This is not that important. Sorry. I said, okay, yeah. And then he comes back and says, yeah, you're right. I talked to my manager and I said, this is not something I need today. It can be done in a week. Woohoo! Yeah. That's the exercise we don't do enough and we keep being busy and deliver with right goals, with right tracking and right passion. If you follow these things, there are three specific advantages you'll see right in your work life. First is your business growth, your product growth, or whatever you're working on, that is going to certainly be higher. You'll have higher influence because you're able to organize things properly, you're impressing people, you're prioritizing things, your team is happier because you prioritize, and then you're able to meet the goals, and organizational leaders are happy because you're delivering. So influence really grows multifold with this. And there's more harmony. Who wants to work 12 hours a day and still have 23 more things to do, right? If you could really prioritize well, you can spend more time with family, you can spend more time with your children, and you can do a lot of things that you have been wanting to do for your own hobbies and interests. So this is part of a blueprint. I've got a 5-step blueprint. An efficient delivery is one of the steps that I follow. This is my framework that I use for my own consulting, coaching as well. And really the whole blueprint includes mindset, having leadership mindset, think like a leader, communicating like a leader, managing team for high performance, efficient delivery, and increasing organizational influence. So what is my call to action to you? Call to action is begin with one new tool to organize. If you have, in fact, I didn't cover all of the different categories in which you need to organize, like calendar and emails and note-taking, journaling, and all of that. So think of your system that is in place, and is there a tool that is missing right now? You may want to start thinking about organizing. And identify 2 tasks to drop. That's my call to action using the Eisenhower matrix. That if you can bend your tasks in that matrix and identify 2 tasks to drop, that will be great. Here are some references for further read. I already talked about 5 levels of leadership. There's the second one, that's this book. The first book is called Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. This is a much more comprehensive leadership guide that John C. Maxwell wrote. And in fact, very funny thing is that one chapter is in leadership influence, increasing influence. And that is basically 5 levels of leadership. So he introduced the 5 levels of leadership as a chapter in the first book, Developing the Leader Within You. And then people start asking him, this is a great thing. Can you give us a little more about this 5 levels of leadership, how we can go from one level to other level and so on? That's when he wrote the second book. So both books are like companion book of each other, and they're excellent reads. And lastly, this whole organization part is championed by David Allen. He has written a book called Getting Things Done. and it's called GTD in short, and you will see numerous resources on GTD. A lot of the tools, they will come out and they'll say, we follow GTD. And that is basically opposed by David Allen. Yeah. So he is like organizational guru. So if you want to read more about that, you can go through this book. And also have one reference or resource for you. It is my own mobile app. It's called Quantum Lead. And here is the barcode in case you want to download that. And it is available on smartphone or iPad, anywhere. And you should be able to get more. That's it. That's all I have, really speaking.
So can you tell us a little bit more about your app, the Quantum Lead?
Yes, sure. So this app is available on iOS as well as Android.
But what does it do?
It is basically some leadership resources available to you. It has got some tips and blogs and videos and question and answer and journals. It will prompt you some questions, giving some information. It will say, okay, what did you learn from this? And you can go through that yourself. So it's a lot of leadership content delivered in your hand. Okay. There are also some mini courses you can do. There are like, say, how to improve confidence. I've got a course on that. You can go through that. Or how to develop better habits.
So is this a free app?
It's a free app. It's a free app. Most of the content is free. If you download, there is already free content available. If you register, you unlock more free content. But there are some courses which are, I think, $7, $8 course as well.
So Bill asks a question. Can you share a tool for or a suggestion for prioritizing our target company or job search? Target company list or job search, or prioritizing our day when we're in transition?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, prioritizing target company list for job search. Of course, the forum that I use is LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn jobs. And once I have the list from LinkedIn, then you need to have criteria for how to prioritize, what is your job search criteria, and how do each of these companies rank as per your job search criteria. So that will be a separate exercise that you'll have to do. I do it through a spreadsheet, normal spreadsheet, and write it down from LinkedIn and then prioritize it based on the criteria that I have.
So someone asked me a question. Can you have Ramesh speak to the impact of missing target dates due to incorrect prioritization? Too many tasks tends to make you miss something somewhere and may lead to a perception that you're unreliable, highlighting the need to prioritize properly.
That's exactly right. So that is exactly the problem that I'm trying to highlight and have you avoid, because when you miss a target, nobody cares why you missed a target. They don't want to listen to you. The organizational leaders, all they want is results. If you have, let me explain, I say, oh, that's too late. Already, they don't want to have explanation. So you may say, hey, I got this many tasks, and then, the VP told me to have 2 more things to do. How am I supposed to do this thing together? You got to raise the flag at the right time. Raise the red flag, say, I got this task to be done, and I can't really, my target is going to get missed, not after the target has been missed. That's the biggest lesson I learned in my management journey, in my leadership journey. Raise the flag. I didn't raise the flag at the right time. I said, maybe I can accommodate, maybe, maybe let me work harder to accommodate, and so on. And then I missed the real target. And then I was not put in a good light because of that.
So Bill also asked, how should we prioritize our time when we're at a networking event during job search? That's a good one.
Yeah.
Job search is a big deal for people right now.
Right.
And it's all about time management.
It's all about, so I think you'll have to get basically when you're doing the job search and you get really a list of people that you meet who could be relevant to you for your job search, Then you got to rank them according to your criteria. Say, hey, you want to do the job, you want to get a vice president level job. And this guy has got, he works at only lower levels of people and he really doesn't have as much influence. So he'll be ranked lower. So based on your position that you're looking for or the responsibility, you'll have to rank people after the event is done. I think the event, I'm not going to prioritize right there. At that time, I would really gather as much as possible. Yeah, as many people as possible and come back and do the analysis. In fact, I also go to LinkedIn, I go to Sales Navigator, and I look at the person, who is he connected to, how long has he been in the organization, what is his impact, and so on. Sales Navigator gives very good additional inputs. So I don't know if I'm sure you're all subscribers of Sales Navigator on top of LinkedIn, and that's a premium membership. And that helps me prioritize what I get from networking.
Okay, what other questions do we have? Go ahead and unmute yourself. Daniel.
I don't have a question. I have a comment for anyone on the call who's not read the 5 levels of leadership. When I read it, it opened a whole world for me when I looked at the executives I was reporting to. And I'll tell you, you might think you have a really good manager. You read that book and all of a sudden he starts coming down. So John Maxwell is just awesome. I have great respect for him, but the 5 levels of leadership will teach you so much about your current executive and management structure. So be aware.
Yeah. And yeah, I completely agree with you, Daniel. And in fact, I developed kind of a checklist to go from level 1 to level 2. There are about 12 actions you can take. You need to be aware of and so on. So for every level, I've got kind of a checklist that I use in my work as well.
We have another one. Somebody asked, what are some common mistakes people make when using the Eisenhower matrix?
I think common mistakes people make is the confusion between the middle 2 tiers, the urgency and importance. Okay. It is very hard to figure. At times, the boundary is blurred between urgency and importance. You think, is it really high importance or high urgency, and is it less urgent? That's where the most mistakes are made.
Okay. Any other questions? Ramesh, this has been informative, and I'm getting all kinds of comments that people appreciate your topic. So thank you so much. And so our next speaker is our next time together is going to be on the 24th. So in 2 weeks. And Cyrus, we have Bridget Halm coming. So that will be fun. So how did you meet Bridget?
On LinkedIn.
Okay. Well, so Bridget Halm, I think is going to be the next Tony Robbins. So she is absolutely phenomenal, absolutely dynamic, and so it's a lot of fun. So we love our speakers here. Thank you, Ramesh, so much for taking your time and sharing with us and preparing and giving us all these pearls. We really appreciate it. And so everyone, we're going to see you in 2 weeks. Stay dry, stay warm, stay safe, and looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone. Happy Friday.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Peace out. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ramesh.